Fred Film Radio. I'm Matt Micucci from the 2019 BFI London Film Festival, and it is my pleasure to introduce our listeners to Craig Roberts. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Director, writer of the film Eternal Beauty. The first question is kind of the obligatory one, just for the listeners who are not familiar with it, and just in the best interest of the film, just in case I say something that you may not want to be revealed yet about the film. Would you like to maybe introduce it a little bit, just to say a few words about the story?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably explain it better than I could. I think that the movie is about a lady that goes through a tough time and has a breakdown of sorts and spirals into a chaotic world. Where she's diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And the movie, for me, is about taking that and asking whether it's something bigger, maybe like a superpower or something.
Right, and that's fascinating to me, but I'm just kind of wondering whether this, dealing with mental health issues, and whether you're familiar with it yourself, and whether this film, especially because you wrote it as well, comes from a very personal place too.
Yeah, I think we all are familiar with it in a way, but I think, yes, so the story is very personal to me. I grew up around a person with superpowers, and right. I didn't really know she had these powers until about 5 years ago, and when I did, I realized how incredible a person she was, and I felt like I should put it to paper and share her powers with the world.
Right. Now, when you say superpowers, what does that mean exactly?
Superpowers.
Right. But can you specify the superpower in question that this person you knew about?
I think a superpower is what you want it to be. Right. I think anybody can have a superpower.
Well, the reason why I'm asking you that as well is because, and it's interesting that this conversation is going that direction, is that we also live in an age where there's a lot of superhero films.
Yeah.
And so I wonder whether that, in a sense, is also connected to the fact that we're also in an age that is somehow becoming more sensible to many, many, many issues of mental health.
You mean, like, is Marvel related to mental health?
It's possible that the two might be related. Now, this is just something that I kind of thought of while you said that, because I never really heard anyone put it that way, in a sense.
I think I really love the movie Punch Drunk Love by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Right.
And he took anxiety, and for people that are familiar with the movie, you may know that Barry Egan, the character that Adam Sandler plays, is actually Superman.
Oh.
And throughout the movie, he's an alien that is struggling with social anxiety. And I just love the idea of taking something like anxiety and making it a powerful thing, not a weakness,
right.
And questioning whether we could recast the weakness of mental health as a strength.
And in fact, not necessarily does it have to be a mental health. It can also just be something else, like one's race, which used to be, looked down upon. And the reason I'm also saying that is because I just also saw a documentary on Miles Davis, and he used, he awakened to the fact that the color of his skin wasn't a liability, but it was an asset.
Right.
That it was something that he could own up to, and it was something that made him different, and he, give him power in a sense.
Superpower.
So it's a very empowering kind of positive thought. But do you think that, people are starting to see it that way, or do you think that's not so much?
I don't know. I don't know how people are seeing it. I think that I just have, from my experience with the person that I've lived with in my life, the struggles that she's gone through, she just has such a positive outlook, and we're all dealing with our own issues, and have our own realities, but there's no saying what the right reality is, really. So
in this film, obviously the lead character is played by Sally Hawkins. She's amazing, terrific actress. I don't have to say. Everyone knows she's fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit about working with her, and what was that like? How did you basically work with her? Were you in a close sort of working relationship and trying to get this character and shape this character in a sense?
As a director, I like to say the lines, and I tell the actors to say it exactly how I'm saying it. No,
True.
no. I basically, so I wrote the script for Sally, and I sent it to her, and she read it, and she said yes, and I was never going to make the movie without her. I think she in herself is a superhero. She's such an incredible actor.
Right.
So I was hoping she'd do it, and she did. We had we spent about a year and a half before the picture started, before we started filming, of just sharing songs or maybe colors and pictures and movies that we felt was the right world. And she likes to get into character, so she came to Wales where we shot the movie like a couple of months before and got into character.
That's interesting. So before you actually started specifically talking about the film, you were sharing these kind of small little things and just trying to get a very personal bond that even went beyond the script itself.
Yeah, because you want to go on. When you go onto set, you don't have much time at all. So you want a shorthand. You want to be able to say the stuff you want to say without saying it at all. So once we got into that, I knew the character very well, and when Sally became the character, it was just very easy to talk to the character.
Right. Actually, I wanted to ask, and while we were talking about mental health and all these things, I'm sure you've been asked this as well, but I'd like to kind of know a little bit about this. Mental health has been treated in the past in cinema in very superficial ways, but what really interests me about this film is that not only does it look at it in a very, I think, different way, very unique way, but also it has this sort of not only positive outlook, but also sense of humor that I think makes it just a great film to watch as well. Would you agree with that? And do you think that having humor could possibly make the film even more powerful?
I'm glad you said. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think so. I do. A lot of movies are when they touch on mental health. And don't get me wrong, The Shining is a fantastic film, but it's mainly people running down a corridor possessed, yes. And they try and I suppose they try and paint the illness as a possession of sorts. And yeah, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I also think that some people feel uncomfortable when humor is brought into that, and that is fine. But life is uncomfortable, and life isn't all a drama, and life isn't all a comedy. We go up and down. I don't know any point where I feel awkward that I wouldn't try and make a joke. Like even when I go to the doctor's office or to the doctors, I feel very anxious and I try and make a joke. They don't laugh, but I still try and make a joke. So I feel like life is full of humor and full of downs and ups. So I think also that the humor comes from her, really. It's never really about laughing at her. It's laughing with her. She's wicked in her own way, and she wants to do what she wants. Yeah. She has no filter.
Yes. I feel the same way about the humor thing that you said. I think that also maybe people have this tendency to take life itself a little too seriously. Maybe if they made, more jokes about maybe more serious things, it wouldn't be so hard to live life, because it can be quite difficult. Well, it was a great pleasure talking with you. Seriously, it was fantastic talking with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. This is Fred Film Radio, the Festival Insider.